Good afternoon, everybody. I will just start with the small introduction without the presentation, so you can see this building, because partially it's going to be about this building and their premises. Good morning and good afternoon, and I will just introduce myself a little bit. My name is Miroslav Čibik, and I just finished my PhD studies at the end of June this year and started to work as a professor assistant at the Institute of Landscape Architecture here in Nitra, also on the beginning of September this year. And I was always dealing with public spaces or semi-public spaces in urban or peri-urban areas. But the topic of dissertation thesis was more or less about university campuses. So I will just share the presentation, and we can go slowly on. So I will just ask if you can see it. Everything good? Okay.
Yes, we can see. Thank you.
Okay. So the issue of university campuses as a sustainable multifunctional component of the city urbanized area has not yet been fully developed and processed, and only few people deal with it at the level of research. I heard that we have some researchers here, so the first part of the presentation will be more or less about the methodology and the research itself, and about the dissertation thesis. We think that the certain principles and guidelines should apply to their crash, and I mean the university campuses. So that's why the goal was set for the set of recommendations, as you can see. The set of recommendations outlines the possible tools for achieving conceptual solutions for the selected university campus, which is the campus I mentioned on the beginning, the campus of our university, the University of Slovak Agriculture in Nitra. And the several partial goals lead to the fulfillment of this goal, where I consider the compilation of typology of university campuses to be one of the most important, which later also leads to the methodology of selecting university campuses for evaluation. An equally important partial goal is to name the relations between the university campus and the city, because we know that the university campus influence the city with many influences, such as economic, socioeconomic, culture, social, and so on and so on. And it's not only about their scale and how big the university campus is, but it's also about the location. I will maybe just start with the small introduction to the topic. We know many type of university campuses and many type of conception, how they're designed. We know American concept, which is basically about university campuses located on the borders of the city, where the influence of the university campus is not that big as the influence of university campus located in the middle of the city centrum. And the campus which I'm going to talk about at the end of the presentation, the campus of our beautiful university, is that one which is located in the city centrum, but without places with function. We have so many beautiful places, but without any function. The people are not using it pretty much with the idea it was created before. Also, the methods used in this work are quite unique, namely the method research by design and case study research and the related methods. On the beginning, we were thinking which method we will use for evaluate the university campus. Firstly, we thought that the final result of the dissertation thesis will be the design. So we collected information about the research by design methodology, but then we did it just as a research for design, because at the end, as I mentioned, it was just a set of recommendations, not the design itself, and it needs to be developed more later on. So at the way to the final results, we change it for research for design, and we collected data and everything just for the design itself, because it's not only about the aesthetic values, but also about the function. And I was mentioning that we have so many places without function, so that's why it needs to be developed more intensively and more precisely. The quantitative and qualitative research used in this work is characterized by certain steps or sequences, or let's say phasing. So as you can see, we have 6 phases used in this work. The first phase is conceptual phase, and then the phase of acquiring new knowledge. It was all about the public spaces, university campuses, cities, I mean urban areas and peri-urban areas, but also about the human as a user of the city and user of the university campus and public spaces as well. Then the phase of preparation before obtaining results. So it was all about collecting maps and research about the exact place we are going to research. Then results acquisition phase. So research in terrain, and then phase of research. So from collecting data to do the final result and final evaluation. And then, of course, the final phase of interpretation of these results. The evaluation of university campuses itself was preceded by the elaboration of a methodology for the evaluation of university campuses and their potential, which is based on 2 methodologies for the evaluation of public spaces, and those methodologies being verified in practice. One of them is from Lukačovič and deals with the concept of the town Hlohovec in Slovakia. And in this methodology, I mean, here all the traditional public spaces were elaborated, such as squares, parks, waterfronts, street spaces, etc. And the second methodology from Mrs. Kilnar deals with specific public spaces, which were squares in Brno, Czech Republic. And from these 2 methodologies, attributes directly related to the issue of university campuses were selected, and collected also with those attributes related to the topic, and what we can use from those 2 methodologies I mentioned before. Each of these attributes is rated from 1 to 5, where 5 is the best or the most, and the full number of points is obviously 100 because we have 20 attributes. So we can very easily transform it to the percentage. The methodology for selecting university campuses was conditioned by the typology of university campuses, which I mentioned on the beginning, that we have many concepts how to design university campus. So I want to have it like many of different types of university campus, but it was also conditioned by that fact that I stayed 6 months in Technical University in Vienna. So 4 of the 6 university campuses are from Austria. And namely 2 of them are in Vienna. The first one is Vienna University of Economics and Business. The second one, University of Vienna. Then in second large city in Graz, University of Graz, and then Johannes Kepler University in Linz. The 6th university campus besides our campus was Tianjin University in China, where we collaborated with a researcher from this university, Abdushukur Zaid, and we together collected the data. There were 229 evaluators, of which 58 persons were women and 42 persons were men. And at the bottom right, you can see from which countries they were coming from. Here I will just mention that I'm pretty happy that we had evaluators from American continents, so we can clearly see the differences between their view and our European view, in case of also of the concepts of their creation. Before obtaining results, we collected maps, and we point there many different marks, which were basically the entrances, the axes, the representative areas, so we can easily oriented, be easily oriented in the area later on in the terrain, and so on and so on. And on the left, you can see the table where we marked the points. As I mentioned on the beginning, the very important attribute is also location of the university campus. So we also collected the maps which shows location of university campus, because if it's in the middle, it contributes more to the city, and also the opposite, if it's on the edge, the influence is not that big compared to the one which is in the middle. And it also, we collected those maps and those types of university campuses, so we have the scale of different locations, but still everything, every university campus in the urban areas. That was the condition. In the pandemic situation, we collected data through the questionnaire survey, which was done by program Argis Survey 1 to 3. Here I will mention that this was done just for our university, because we ask our workers and students to fill it up. As I mentioned, that we have a lot of different types of university campuses. I collected also a lot of different cases on or case studies on university campuses, and a lot of different types, just for the presentation in the thesis that we have the scale. So here you can see the EDF campus in nearby Paris. It's one big structure. So we can have the campus as a structure, and the life goes. Life is just like flowing in the inner pavilion spaces. So in the middle of the whole structure. So it's not only about many objects, many pavilions, and many buildings located in one place, but it can be the whole big structure, and everything is go inside. Those case studies were all related to or connected to the landscape. That was also one of the things we were focused on, and this is also one of the structure. This is the H Farm campus in Italy, and the final elaboration was done by such as cards where the structure is visible, the structure of the campus and the map itself, and of course the evaluation with the points, and the spider graph, which is showing where the campus goes and which attributes needs to be developed more. So here's just the blank such a card, but here you can see the card of Johannes Kepler University in Linz, the one of the evaluated campus. I'll just go through in this way so that we can get the overall evaluation. So here's the examples how the cards were look like. We also did some graphics, so we can easily describe their premises. In each university campus, we point out the valuable places, such as restaurants or functional inner pavilion spaces with cafes and so on, because those attributes are missing in our campus. Here's the University of Graz and their premises, University Vienna, the economic university, pretty well known, I guess. And the last one is Tianjin University in Wenroad, China. And of course, our university. So here you can see the overall evaluation of university campuses. I will just wait, because I have a toolbar here on the right side of the presentation. Okay. The set of recommendations was preceded by a set of detailed analysis, and namely analysis of broader relations, landscape analysis, historic analysis, walking distance, naming of university objects and their classification in time, graphical visualization of these objects, and very detailed analysis of the current state on a larger scale. This is the overall evaluation of university campuses. As you can see, the best one, or those university campuses which received the most points, were the Economic University in Vienna, Tian University in China, and Johannes Kepler University. And end of the list is our university campus in Nitra. We did pretty well in the last category, which were aesthetic category, but we were on the last place in first three categories: space around the person, dynamic and static movement, and safety. Okay, here you can see why. So in the first category, space around the person, we need to do some improvements in socioeconomic values and place for meeting, culture, and sport. In case of dynamic and static movement, area B, we need to improve the space for sitting and standing, and also parking. In category safety, or area of safety, we need to improve communications and traffic safety. But in case of aesthetic of the environment, we were on the top in category greenery and water elements, or the human scale, which was surprisingly nice. I'm sorry. Okay, here was like the issue with the video. Sorry. So here you can see the analysis of wider relations. I will just point out that the very important is this axis leading to the university campus from the city centrum, but the traffic goes all around the campus next to the larger settlements. Here's the landscape analysis, where we were collecting the landscape in the city and compared it later on with the landscape located in the university campus. Here we were doing the historical analysis. Here I will just mention that during the urban development of the city, the right side next to the river were fully undeveloped. It was just without any city area, settlements, and our campus started the developing of the other side of the river with the settlements Chrenova 1 and Chrenova 2, and after this building or this development, the city were growing also to the right. So it was quite interesting to research. Here you can see the graphic interpretation of every building located in the university campus. 9 of the objects of the university campus are the national are part of the national cultural heritage. So every small or big interventions needs to be done with this point, and needs to be done very sensitively with some regulations and with some limits. The part of the research and thesis was also collecting those objects which are part of the national cultural heritage, and do some graphical interpretations of their look. So I'll just go through it. We did some very detailed analysis. This was through the grid, where we were collecting those places without function. That's the red one, and places with landscape in bigger scale, then the water elements, and then pavements, and like the gray areas. And we also points those valuable spaces. It was mostly inner pavilion spaces and open spaces in the area with the points, and those points were such a scale of the phasing, like from which space we need to start doing improving or doing design, to that one, to those one which are not that quite in bad shape. We also collected some GIS analysis of borders. We asked evaluators to mark what they think of which is the border of the university campus, and then we did some analysis from those data. It was quite interesting because the borders were not in the shape of the existing borders. I mean, there is no like fence or something, but we have some property borders, and it wasn't matched at all. So we did something like the grayscale, where the darkest one were the borders with the like most evaluators thought it can be, and then it was obviously around the most representative areas, which was the botanical garden and those 9 objects which are natural, part of the natural cultural heritage. Then from the evaluation, we marked those attributes which were evaluated from 1 to 3, which were the worst marks and points, and started to developing it firstly as a concept, and then with some graphical visualizations, and we done some comparison between better examples and our current situation. This was one of the attributes and areas in the university campus we need to improve in the first phase, because it's the attribute of space for meeting, culture, and sports. So this is the centrum of sports in our university. It's very next to the dormitory, and it's quite in a bad shape, so it did some design and improvements in just graphical way, and of course in we name it in the text part. Here we were pointed some missing connections between those area and the university campus, because between those places flows the river, or shapes the river. So we designed some connections, bridges, and tried to allocate the entrances. Also the main entrance were allocated, and yeah, and this is the graphical interpretation of inner pavilion spaces. So this is between the main entrance and main building, which is Aula Maxima, and the first of the pavilion. The architects of the university campus on the beginning thought that students will spending time in a pavilion spaces, but there is no function and no like objects inviting those students to spending time there. So we just pointed that we need to improve this by adding some socio-economic objects, attributes such as cafes, terraces, pubs, and stuff like that. But also some very occasionally happening events, such as films on one of the buildings, and those pictures were in the dissertation thesis graphical interpreting those facts that there is almost no life and no function in a pavilion spaces in a pavilion spaces. We also did some technical drawings, and also some comparisons between bad examples, as you can see on the left screen, and those which are functioning in different places and cities all around the Europe or the world. So as you can see, there is no like no like unit design of the objects like this, and this needs to be also improved. So we name it very intensively. We were describing also pavements, because there is so much, let's say, not green enough pavements, and we need to improve also that fact. And here I will just finish with the look of the book itself. It's available also online, unfortunately only in Slovak language, but you can see those graphical interpretations and evaluations, and you will probably it's I mean, it's readable, so you can use it also in a Slovak version. And that's basically everything from my side, and I will wait for the questions you have. Thank you very much for the attention.